are now tuned into the 2-Minute Warning, a live stream community conversation pertaining to social and political issues and how we can collectively resolve them. Powered by the Westside Gazette.
Hi. Okay, sorry about that glitch. Hello, it's Thursday, February 9th, 2023. Welcome to the 2-Minute Warning. 2-Minute Warning is brought to you by the Westside Gazette newspaper in Fort Lauderdale. I am your host, Perry Busby, and joining me tonight are my co-hosts, the publisher of the Westside Gazette, Mr. Bobby Henry, and my good friend, David Wright. Gentlemen, how are you doing tonight?
You know, with me, I am terrific and getting better. I'm just, digging the vibes about what's going to happen tonight. So I'm okay. Mm-hmm.
That's great.
Absolutely, the vibes are alive,
Yes.
and I'm fantastic and growing every day. But excited about tonight's show.
Absolutely.
Great. I am too. Yeah, we have an exciting show scheduled for tonight. Children and the struggle, and so we've got a great panel that's coming forth. But gentlemen, tell me what's going on. What's the latest?
Where do you want to start? You want to come from the national scene? Where do you want to start?
Well, yeah, let's start nationally. Since we just had the State of the Union, President Biden gave us his State of the Union, his opinion on how well we are doing here in the United States. Everybody wants to know about inflation and the job market, and he was basically saying that all those numbers are looking good. But there was some commitments that were made. Some people got put on Front Street in reference to their position on Social Security and Medicare.
So did the OG come through?
OG did original gangster, old goat.
Let's do him some justice.
Okay. Original gangster he is. He kind of threw some shame in the game. So it just shows sometimes that old wisdom. You just can't mess with it.
Don't let the smooth taste fool you.
Oh, yeah.
What's going on in the state capitol, man?
Well, as always, there's a lot going on in Florida. Yesterday, one of the positive events that really happened up here in the state capitol that got a little coverage was a protest. Well, I won't call it a protest, but it was protest march of the students at Florida A&M University and Florida State University, as well as Tallahassee Community College. If you are familiar with Florida, you know that all of those campuses are rather close, and the students gathered together at the Ruby Diamond Theater, which is right just outside, just sits in the shadow of the Capitol. And it was a student-led protest. Students from both, really from all campuses, spoke regarding the governor's legislative agenda that is affecting the quality of education here in Florida, especially within the university setting. And from what I hear, it was a great march. There were two, what I would say, well, there were two professors, one from Florida State and one from FAMU, who were also in attendance. They said their stated position was to support the students. Therefore, they were not in front of the line. They were in back of the line to be participants and to watch and to hear what they had to say. So I thought that was a real positive event.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want to go back to the national scene. What's happening in Mississippi? If we didn't have these young folk coming on tonight, I would do a Nina Simone rendition of a song she had about Mississippi. But what are they trying to do in Mississippi? Create a white state, or it's just a judicial system? Come on, now.
We've always considered Mississippi its own country, right?
Mhm.
It always walked to its own beat, especially in reference to how African American Black folks have been treated there. And as we see history trying to rear its ugly head again, it just goes to show that if we don't know our history, we're bound to repeat it.
Yeah. Yeah. And David, if we could connect the dots of what you were saying in terms of President Biden, when President Biden, I think, showed real clear in the State of the Union was the effective use of politics. And we've gotten really far away from the art of politics and made politics an art. So now we got a lot of performance and very few tangible things out of this. And so again, looking at Mississippi, we see Republicans using still some of the levers of government. And so I think what President Biden shows us is that we have to be equally on our game in order to overcome issues like this.
Okay, so the fact that you think this is a smoke screen or just something to take our eyes off of what's going on, when you have a government that's trying to introduce all white legal system, that brings should bring some attention from everybody, whether it's a
Exactly.
So I'm just I don't know. You see Mississippi, you see Florida, you see Arkansas, you see all these places, man, trying to God dog, what was that movie called? Free State of Jones or Free Jones, whatever, but this stuff is real. So
It is.
But now I'm gonna bring it in local. We, for the first time in the history of Broward County Public Schools, we have 2 Black superintendents with the possibility. And one that happened on Tuesday. The current was a former superintendent who was fired 4 times, and the 4th time must be a charm because she's going out the door. And now we have Dr. Valerie Wanza and Dr. Earlene Smiley. One is the superintendent of education. I think that's her title correctly, and the other one will be the interim superintendent. So this is the first time in the history of Broward County Public Schools that this has happened. Now, ironically, God is something else. Here you have a situation where the outgoing superintendent demoted the incoming superintendent, and now the incoming superintendent was the last one that the fired superintendent saw when she was leaving the building. I guess the first shall be last and the last shall be first.
So same people you step on going up gonna be them same ones you see coming down.
And that's something. So as apropos as it is for the month of February, Black History Month, we have just made another moment in history here in Broward County. Even though the governor is trying to say that Black history doesn't matter. What term did he use? Something about the education?
Well, he was speaking, I think, if we keep it in content about that one particular AP course, but we all know better.
Exactly.
Yeah, wake up and smell the coffee. And there is a lot that is pushing us in a direction where we need to be anyway, and that's to be mindful of what's going on around us, and particularly as it pertains to our children and the history, our history. So.
And we talked about a little bit about that, just understanding that our history as Black people didn't start here in America.
Oh, no, are you kidding?
No,
Come on.
People want you to think that we can kind of belittle what happened here. No, we're kings and queens of great nations. Africa. That land that God kissed with the sun and put every natural mineral and nutrient on it. I mean, are you kidding me? So just to know and do your own research to know who we are and where we come from. only lends to why we've excelled so well here in the U.S. and have more to contribute, more to do. And knowing that everything ain't just black and white.
No, man, and we need to.
No.
We need to really, well, you know, the Jewish folk will never ever let you forget, you know, their history, you know, and so therefore we should feel the same way. We're great people. They're great people, and if we don't tell our story, then who will? You know, correctly.
Amen.
That's a topic for another day. We're in Black History Month. We got another show coming up next week. That's gonna knock the socks off some things. So, yeah. I don't want us to ever negate our greatness. Never push it aside. Ashamed of it. Never be ashamed of our nappy hair and our thick lips. There's a reason for it, you know. So, and,
happy to be nappy.
happy to be nappy.
Right.
All those coils up there had a reason, you know, in that climate of that country. Those coils, those nappy coils played in the importance of storing energy and keeping us connected and grounded. So there's a lot to that, you know, and we need to pass it on to our young folk. Yeah.
Amen.
And speaking of our history, and as we get ready to introduce our guest, any particular person in African American history here in the U.S. that stands out to you? I know we all probably have one.
Yeah. Well, you know, really, Nat Turner gets to me, you know, because, you know, Nat was a preacher, you know, and the slave masters allowed him to teach the gospel, King James Version. And Nat was all in for it until Nat found out what truly happened. And Nat flipped the script and went on a tirade, you know. So, so for me, that is one of my favorite historical people in Nat Turner.
I think for me it would be Paul Robeson, being that he was athletic, singer, scholar, and then an actor, and then he began to use his voice to speak truth to power. But playing Othello and things of that nature at that day and time, you know, the first black to ever star in a leading role like that. Powerful individual.
Oh wow! For me, Bobby said Nat Turner. I'm gonna go a few above him and say David Walker.
Oh,
that's my
the appeal.
For me, David Walker is speaks a lot to our history and was very prophetic in his appeal. I've read that appeal, and there are several versions, but David Walker's appeal and what he says to us as blacks, what he says, not just to whites, he even talks about the Russians and the world, and as he saw it. David Walker wasn't a slave, but he was a world traveler. And so he spoke from that. So for me, David Walker.
Yes, Brody. Yes. Okay.
Okay. Well, we're gonna have to switch up our lineup. Okay. Well, no. Let me hurry up and introduce our first guest.
Okay.
Our first guest tonight is Miss Josiah Defoe. Josiah is a ninth grader at Fort Lauderdale.
Period. Hold on. Hold on.
Yeah.
1 second. I'm sorry. I don't mean that. But read the chat. Let's.
Okay. Okay. She just said okay. So we'll go back. So we're gonna switch up.
That's fine. You know.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. How about you, Dave?
Well, I think we should still do ladies first.
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
we decided to do a show with our young people to be inclusive. We can't go any further, without bringing our young folk along. So this show tonight is very special. It's special to me on several fronts. And I've had the pleasure of working with a couple of these students uh, uh, for a while, and one of them I really admire because, well, I admire all of them, but Samara in particular is a prodigy, and we need to keep our eyes, our hands, and our finances on all of our young students who are aspiring to do something. So, but Samara Rawls, first of all, comes from a very historical family here in Broward County, and then she herself has her own accolades. Samara is a junior at Piper High School. She has a 4.9 average, and she is in the Cambridge program, which is an international curriculum, and it's an exam program that prepares students for college courses. Samara is very active in her community, in her church. She is an all-around student. Samara was one of the first students that we had to write in our Growing Our Voices program for young folk trying to develop journalists. And she has been a part of the West Side Gazette for a number of years. So without any further ado, I would like to introduce Samara Rawls. Good evening, Samara.
Hi, good evening.
Mm-hmm. You want to tell us just a little bit more about yourself, and then we'll bring the others on?
Okay, so hi everybody, my name is Samira Ross. As Mr. Henry said, I attend Piper High School and I'm a junior. In some extracurricular activities I participate in many clubs throughout my school. I'm also active in cheer at my school. And as Mr. Henry said, I am very active in my community. I serve at the Veterans Affairs. I also serve with my church. So that's just a little bit about me.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Mhm.
So our next guest is a young man by the name of Ransom Dominic Johnson III. He's had a love for writing and illustrating his own comic and short stories ever since the age of 5. Now at the age of 11 years old, he's thrilled to share his first published work called The Adventure Academy. It's an exciting novel inspiring young readers to overcome challenges through positive mantras, problem solving, and teamwork. When he's not writing, you can find Ransom in front of his piano, if not blowing his trumpet, or beating on his drum, or strumming on his guitar. This is an all around musician here, or drawing animes and recording self tapes to help him embrace and embark on his goal of becoming a future actor. As a native of South Florida, Ransom is extremely involved in his school and community. Currently, he's a member of his church choir and participates in high school marching band and concert. He is also a 2-time local oratorical competition winner, poetry contest winner, MLK Trailblazers. I can go on and on, but let's just bring Ransom on and let him share a little more about himself. Hello, Ransom. How are you, sir?
I'm great in yourself.
Doing well. Now, did I miss anything? I know I probably missed a few things. Anything you want to add to that?
No, I'll probably just say what you said. Hi, my name is Ransom Dominic Johnson. I am a published author of Adventure Academy. Some extracurricular activities that I do. I usually help around with the Jack and Jill, the Community Education Alliance, and my church. As you said, I'm pretty busy with self tapes, playing the piano, all of the music instruments. But yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome.
Mhm.
So now I think we're ready.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. Our last guest, Josiah Defoe. Josiah is an honor roll student and a freshman at Fort Lauderdale High School. Uh, and in addition to her smarts and intellect, she is also very creative. She is currently the co-director costume and props designer for the teen Broadway production of Adama at the LA Lee YMCA. In addition, she is a Broward Center for the Performing Arts Teen Ambassador, as well as the Broward Center for the Performing Arts on the Broward Center for the Arts Spotlight. Um, and not just creative, Josiah as well is a member of is enrolled in the Cambridge program at Fort Lauderdale High School. Outside of high school and outside of the theater, she's a member of the Girl Scouts and a praise dancer at her church, as well as a cheerleader. And if that wasn't enough, she still finds time to be she is also a YouTuber. She has a channel, Josiah Defoe. And among Josiah's many hobbies, she loves reading, writing, and editing her YouTube videos and hanging out with her close friends. And last but not least, Josiah, as you're about to see, is rocking us, slamming fro with us tonight. Josiah, welcome.
Hi.
Hi, welcome. Tell us a little bit more.
I don't know. I feel like you covered all the points. But yeah, hi. My name is Josiah Defoe. I am a freshman at Fort Lauderdale High School. I am in the Cambridge and Law program at Fort Lauderdale. I like to do a lot of things, and like YouTube is where I like vlog it, and also I can like remember everything that I've done in the future.
Okay, great.
Come on, Josiah, tell me about that great interview you did.
Oh yeah. I think it was a week or two ago. I actually interviewed Mr. Bobby Henry, and I really enjoyed that, and it was really fun. So I'm very happy to be here today because I opened up this opportunity. So thank you.
Yeah. Be sure to send us the bloopers. I know he gave you plenty of them.
She was great.
Great.
This entire panel is what it's all about. It's enough to make you get up in the morning and want to run out and shout, "Glory, hallelujah!" Yeah. Let's get into it, man. Let's get into it.
So we prepared a few questions, but as great as this panel is, I want our listeners to know and viewers to know this is truly just a snippet. There are so many other young professionals, young people out there that will soon be professionals that are out there really striving and doing their thing. So we really have to. We couldn't have them all on the show, but we are so glad that we have we want to call it triple threat.
Yeah, that's what it is. But maybe we ought to do a show every other month to bring some young.
Yeah, because
okay. Let's get to it.
Yeah,
This is what we want to know. We want to know how it's gonna go. Okay. You wanna? I'll start off first. Yeah. Let me ask a question. Let's Ransom, since you're the only young man, you're the young man of the show. Let me ask you this, and we're going to deal with MLK since we just we just finished celebrating him. So what impact does the life and dream of Dr. Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. have on you, Ransom?
A major lesson. Yeah, okay. A major lesson that I learned from Dr. Martin Luther King was to never give up. Even though he marched and gave many speeches, many of the issues he spoke about didn't change right away. But he kept marching and fighting, and we still see that it's all worth it today.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Very good.
I think we should take it around and
Okay.
let everybody answer
Okay.
that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Josiah, could you answer that one? Did we need to rephrase the question?
No, you don't need to. Something that I learned would be that sometimes things might not always be ideal, but the ideal circumstance, but you can always try and change it. And like you said, it might not happen right away, but there's like a lot that you can do, and you can use your voice and you can speak out on the issue. So, yeah.
Very good. Sam?
Yes, I kind of saw this question and I could have answered it in like two different perspectives. First, from like a Christian point of view, Dr. King has showed me to love my enemies and how to solve my issues peacefully rather than resorting to a negative way. And also from an African American perspective, Dr. King has impacted me by, gaining equal rights for all of us, and I'm able to exercise my right to vote and also receive equal rights as my white peers would.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I like both sides of that.
Yeah. Our future is looking brighter and brighter. Go, Dave.
So speaking of that, and we know Dr. King obviously was in a struggle. Do you feel that we are still in a struggle? And Samara, I'm gonna stay with you for a minute on that one. Go around.
Okay. So for me, I really do think we are still in the struggle. And this can be mainly seen through police brutality. As we've seen George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and many other African Americans that were unarmed and killed by police brutality. And another way I feel that we are still in the struggle is through political power. Because as you can see, if you look in Congress, we have 535 members, and only 54 are Black people that hold positions. So I really think those are two main ways that we still remain in the struggle.
Ransom, same question.
I do feel like we are still in the struggle. Almost monthly, a crime is committed out of hate for Black people. We still have police brutality, even racism in education. Many leaders, sadly, including our governor, like you said, want to erase our history in schools. That's why we have to keep marching and keep talking specifically to our leaders to not change our history.
Awesome. Saya?
I feel the same, as in that we are still in the struggle, because if you really think about it, like, it's not as severe as it was back then, but it's still here now, but it just in a different form. If you think about it, like, I don't know, like racism, like if you think about it that way, like it's still all around you. And there are marches and protests and things and even with social media now, people speak out on it more. So even, I feel as though we are still, yes, in the struggle, but there is a lot more action being taken now, uh, and in many different forms that it's being taken. Yes.
Okay. Since we're on, since everybody can agree that we're still in the struggle, let me ask you this: what would be your way of helping to alleviate the struggle, to bring us out of the struggle? And so, Zaya, we ended with you. Let's start with you.
Um, I feel like a way to come out of it is definitely using social media as a tool. Like, you can post something and it can reach millions of people, especially using TikTok. So I just think to speak out on it more and educate more using social media, because that way it can get around to like a lot more people that way, and it's just a good way to spread the information. Yes.
Okay, Samara.
I completely agree because social media can reach millions of people within a click. For me, I believe I'm going to talk to my peers and emphasize how important it is to vote. I can even pre-register to vote now. So I'm going to tell my other friends how to do it, and I can show them myself. So, we're all able to vote and exercise that right.
Okay. Ransom.
I also agree with both of them. Social media really comes out with other people because with social media, we actually knew how George Floyd was getting murdered on the ground. With social media, we knew how all of the Black people were getting brutally murdered by racism. But now that we have it, we could stand out with social media, which is a great thing.
Okay, social media, a tool, not a toy.
It's actually a tool for this generation, obviously for many of us, and I really agree with a lot of what's being said. I want to kind of carry that on. I think Samara, you mentioned working with your peers and helping them to pre-register to vote and things of that nature. But let me ask you, how do your friends and your peers feel about Black history and its importance?
Yes. Well, for me and my friends, I believe we all believe Black history is very meaningful and very important. And this is because, Black history focuses on the contributions that Blacks have had throughout all of America. Even those who were not really recognized, we get to learn about them. So that's really important. And also how it recognizes Blacks all the way from the beginning of slavery all the way till now. That's really important. So we all believe it has a prevalent part in our everyday lives.
Okay, great. Josiah?
May you please restate the question?
Yes. How do you feel your friends and peers feel about Black histories and its importance?
How my friends and I feel about Black history and its importance. We believe that it's very important, especially in the fact that you're knowing the past and the struggles of where you came from, as well as what it took to overcome it, and where we are now. And I honestly, from what I've heard from my friends, they believe that it's very important and that a lot of people should know the truth, especially about it, and not shy away from it, and not try to disregard it, if that makes sense, or think not think about it. Yeah, I'll say that.
Okay, thank you. And Ransom, same question.
I feel like we're proud about our history and we think it's important while also making history because leadership is being the first notable Black person who does something great or serving your community or buying your community back.
Okay, very good. Let me go to the chat column here. I see we got a couple of comments. Miss Susan Robertson Hood says, "Our governor is horrible. Each of you are smarter, kinder, and stronger than he is on his best day." So thank you very much for that, Miss Susan. Okay, now I have a question. I want to back up a little bit. Um, the question that I want to ask is who do you all, each one of you, who could be our next king? Uh, and that's in the uh, intellect, the persona uh, of Dr. Martin Luther King and his beliefs from your perspective. And we'll go with you first, Ransom. Who will be the next king? Who do you see as the next king?
In my personal opinion, I believe any of us can be the next Martin Luther King because during the civil rights
Oh, keep hope alive,
Come
brother.
on, man. Come on.
Keep hope alive. Yes, sir.
during the civil rights movement, it took a while for news of injustice and racism to spread. Now with social media, we all have a platform to say something and do the right thing because we could share messages about positivity and that create change.
And Ransom, before you go, your Instagram page. Go ahead and tell everybody what's your Instagram page.
Um, my
It's Ransom
Instagram
on
page
Instagram
is
at Crown Me King _Dom.
yep, that's right.
Oh,
We know we call you Dom, but King Dom.
play on words. That's good. Okay, Sam.
I agree with Dom. I believe any one of us, if we work hard enough, will be able to do what Martin Luther King. But right in this current moment, personally, I haven't seen anyone to necessarily fulfill his legacy because, Dr. King united millions of people very, very peacefully. But I really do see people going in that direction, such as the political power and leadership from Barack Obama, which is very similar to Dr. King, and also civil rights activism, such as Ben Crump. But also, we can all work together, not necessarily just one person can fill the legacy. But when we come together and work as a team, that can also help us become more like Dr. King.
Right.
Josiah?
So when I saw that question, I didn't really have an answer to it. I didn't know what I would want to say. So it was nice hearing from the two of them on their perspectives, and I believe what they said, that it can be anyone who has the qualities and the leadership.
Josiah, that what you just did is a very important, mature comment. we can't take that lightly, you know. And that's what's so unique about all of you. You step outside of yourself, and that's great, you know. But you had enough faith in the other two to listen to them and then give you a comment. So that's great. Okay, Buzz.
Hey,
Back.
hey, sir. Yeah, I'm back. Had a chance to listen to these great minds and their insight, and so if I could, can we? Uh, I know, we've been talking history. Can we take a little small look forward? And my question is, and I think you may have alluded to it earlier, some of Josiah and Samara. What issues would you like to see you and your peers take a more active role in enacting change? Or should I say more of a leadership role in enacting the change?
Well, I believe like in our future of this generation, we definitely need to take more political power because like I said, a majority of our Congress is white. So the decisions that they are making, it affects them and they're not able to see it from a black person's point of view. So I really think it's important that, in the future, we make sure that the students have the resources to be able to become politicians and that they're not afraid or they don't think that they can do it. So I think that is important.
Hmm.
I think that we need to like pay attention more to the world and what's happening right now so that when it is time for us to actually step up into those positions that we know what's going on and we know what the change is that needs to be made, because I am actually guilty of like I don't read in on the news as much as I should. I don't watch the news in the morning. I'm not really up to tune with what's really going on in the world, so I need to take into what I just said and just pay attention more to what's going on so that when it is time for our generation to step up, we know like I said what's going on and what changes we need to make.
Yeah, yeah. And Josiah, you are wise beyond your years. That's a wise comment. Thank you. King Dom?
Um, First, I like to start off as if my dad usually says: if you know better, you do better, and you really shouldn't joke around about how we are and how you can make change. Such as you you really shouldn't. Okay, let me say this. You shouldn't joke around about Black history because that's a very important part of our lives. And usually people at our school, they call us things that they heard from a social media platform, and they call it funny. But in my opinion, that's not funny at all, because you should really pay more attention and look way more into what Black history really means, and instead of just joking around about it and saying negative things that really aren't true at all.
Since we all seem to feel that social media is a platform, then my question would be, how can you make that platform more beneficial, more in line of a tool and not a toy? Samara?
I feel you're able to make it more so as a tool than a toy by like like by the stuff that you post. So if you're always, posting like silly things and people may not take your account seriously, but when you start posting like things advocating for Black people voting rights, letting people be aware of police brutality and things like that, people are going to start realizing it and seeing, oh, this is an issue, and you'll be able to use it more as a tool than just showing it, like showing pictures to your friends and sharing and things like that.
I truly believe that it's up to the user if they would like to use it as a tool or a toy. Obviously, you want to use it as a tool because that's that's more beneficial, but it's definitely like the user has to the person that is using the social media has to choose like how do you want to use your platform. It will affect the way the world is seen, how others view you. So yeah.
And to that point, okay, I'm sorry. Oh, Dominique, I'm sorry.
It's okay. You could go ahead.
And to that point, I would say, well, then, do you think that with all that happens in terms on social media, TikTok and being paid and YouTube and Black creative voices not speaking up, do you think then that maybe we should have a platform that is geared toward speaking to us more openly and freely?
Yeah.
Josiah
Oh.
or Samara, whoever.
That is a really good idea. I never really thought about that. Like a social media platform catered towards like making people aware of like, yeah, that would be a really good idea. I think that's definitely something that can be created. Maybe it would be a little different than Instagram. So like the idea doesn't become people focusing on just posting and getting likes and things like that. But that is definitely something, our generation can do, especially how we already use social media. So that is definitely something that can be developed and used to make aware of the issues.
Oh, also, okay, I'm gonna speak, but before I say this, like mine is kind of like it's kind of like glitching and mumbling a little bit when other people are speaking. So I hope it's not doing it for me, for you guys. But I believe that I think a social media platform just for that would be nice, like for educating, like people know that when I open this app or yeah, we'll say app. When I open this app, I know like uh, what information I'm getting. I think that would be very beneficial. I don't know how to make anything or do anything with apps or anything, but I feel like if we found someone like that, truly would be something, and I feel like a lot of people would use it. Yeah.
I agree with both of them. You really shouldn't just use it for having likes or how many subscribers or followers you have. But the whole reason why you should post is for the meaning of why you post it. Because you can't just post, for example, Black History. You can't just post something about Black History and be like, oh, there's going to be so much likes and everybody's going to start following me now that I just posted this. No, you shouldn't think about that. You should think about how many people or how many lives that's going to change about that one message that you just posted on social media because that could really benefit somebody's life and maybe it could give you more likes, but you shouldn't worry about that. You should worry about the real definition or meaning behind it.
Sounds like King Dom wants to get quality in the content, something that's meaningful and purposeful. I love this social media conversation because obviously this is the future. We have the future here right now on set. Um, if you could come up with an idea of a platform, um, I'm always in the mindset of how can we do our own type of platform independent from the YouTubers and all of the well-known ones out there. And I know we're talking more on a technical level, but what do you think it would really look like? What would that, if you could design your own platform, what would that look like as far as the name, the purpose? And Josiah, we'll start with you.
I don't really have a name, but like as we were like talking about it and stuff, I kind of like something that popped up in my head was maybe it could also be a platform to maybe showcase like maybe things that Black creators like make, like products and stuff, where you like that would be a very interesting because I know today at my school, we're doing a Black History Month like Spirit Week, but it's just like for the week, and today was like wear something that you like bought from like a Black creator or something like that, like a Black owned business or something. And I had wore this shirt. It says "Bold, Black, and Bougie," because I got it from Target because Target has like a own like a Black History Month section or where it has like a bunch of different clothing and like uh decorations and things that were only made like by Black creators, and it showcases them and their names. And like my mom also, like, she bought this cookbook by a lady, I forgot her name, but she's like vegan, and my mom's like, she wants to like get into that lifestyle, and she was able to like find something like that in that section. So yeah, I think having a spot on the app where it could like also showcase like Black creators, like the things that they have made, or Black owned businesses and stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah, I agree. That is a really good idea. I didn't think about that. But another thing I was thinking probably that would like be significant on Instagram, it usually shows like the likes, the account, and all that stuff. I feel like we should have something like that, but without the feature. So you can't like it, so you can't get famous or publicity. You can't have accounts that you follow, so you get caught up in that mix. And yeah, I think that would be good. And also something in there, because social media is like very addictive. You can keep scrolling for hours and hours. So maybe a feature on there. So like after a certain time, it's like, okay, time to stop, time to go back. And maybe like another part of the app or whatever it is of a way that you can actually help in your community, like, helping people register to vote or things like that. I feel like that could also be very helpful and beneficial in the app.
Awesome, Dom.
I definitely agree with both of them. Let me just tell you that the normal screen content for humans is just 8 seconds. 8 seconds. And for those 8 seconds, instead of thinking of something that people would just enjoy, you should think of something that they would actually enjoy and then hold on to that. Like Josiah said, I'm doing also a Black History project in my world history class. I'm doing it about Ray Charles and Michael Jackson. And I picked those two because they're both musicians, and instead of just their musical careers, I also wanted to inform them about how they made change. For example, Ray Charles, he made change because he was not going to play for an entire white audience, but he ended up saying that I wouldn't play if only Black people came to my show too. So his whole famous career, all of that stuff, he would not do it for only a white audience, and he would only do it if Black people were there. And same thing with Michael Jackson. He helped with the Soul Train, and that really brought Black people's music together, which is exactly why I agree.
Okay. I want to ask you, okay, what are some of the topics that you think we need to be discussing?
Like, well, maybe in school. I know I've been saying this a lot, but like voting for sure. Because my school, I mean, I may have gotten an email or two about pre-registering to vote, but it wasn't all flashy in my face. And I had to go out on the internet and find out steps on how to do that because, I didn't know about it then. So I feel like definitely in schools, we need to be giving more resources to our students and making it more obvious so they're able to use those resources. I feel like that could be really good.
So, Mary, while you're there, is civics actually being taught in your school?
I'm not sure. I believe that might be a class in the 12th grade, but I haven't heard about it. But I don't want to say no, so I'm not 100% sure.
I feel like we could. This is also in schools too, because I know back in elementary school, like mainly during Black History Month, they only really teach about like Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King. So I feel like it would be nice to go into all the other people that aren't as heard about as much. Because I know in my English general paper class, my teacher, she's this month, what she's doing is she's actually shouting out a lot of Black people that have had an impact, or that are famous or whatever, that aren't really talked about as much. So yeah, I think that is really nice that she's set out to do that. And I feel like, and I don't know if they changed it in elementary schools, if they're like talking about more people, this this time of year, but yeah, I just think that it would be nice to like learn more about the different people. Because I remember like back in elementary school, theater, we had to do a show. It was like a Black History Month show, and we pretty much like portrayed a character, and I was Josephine Baker. So yeah, that was like really nice. But I think yeah, like to just to learn more about the people that aren't talked about as much.
Ransom?
I agree. We shouldn't just be learning about Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, all of the people that it's just, I'm not saying that they're basic, but all of the things that we would just only learn on. We should learn about more Black people. For example, our community. Um, and we, like I said, we all help around our community, and that could actually be a very noticeable thing that we would all do.
But that living history right here in Broward
Absolutely.
County,
Yeah.
man. I can just tell you when I was
Yeah.
growing, we had accessibility to great leaders right here in our community. So I kudos those
Yeah.
things.
Sure, Samira.
Yes, it was, I just thought about this, but I think what's really important is our history before slavery, because not a lot of people know that. And it's like when they teach us in schools, it's like you started as slavery and then you progress. But like it's really important to know that before, we were thriving in Africa, how we had kings and kingdoms, and it's better to understand that we started before slavery. Like that's not where we began. So I thought that was just something that should be taught as well.
Okay, great.
Great. Can we ask just one final?
Yeah.
Do we have time? Okay. Final question. Where do you see Broward, Florida, this nation in the next 10 years?
I feel like Broward in the next 10 years, well, I hope to see, well, in general, in Florida too, I hope to see more diversity within the political powers there. But I feel if the youth, we advocate and we do what we need to do, I feel like we're going to see changes in our government and locally and throughout the state. So as long as like the youth stay active in our community and we continue to serve and give back, I feel like we're gonna see a positive upcoming within our community and in the local level.
Yeah, I agree with Samara. I feel like us youth are going to step up more into the community. Um, in 10 years, I think we're trying to think, maybe 20s, 20
Yeah,
something.
mid 20s. Yeah.
You gain a lot after 18, 19, gain a lot of power and stuff, and people listen to you more because you're an adult. So yeah, I feel like many voices, a lot more voices are going to be heard, and that's what's going to cause a lot of changes.
In 10 years, you guys would probably be adults. I would be close to an adult. But in 10 years, I believe Broward County would be have way more leaders and more change makers in our community, because at the rate we're going right now, in 10 years, it would be over the top. It would be wonderful. It would be great in our community.
Great.
Oh,
Okay. We know we understand and respect the time that you have, and we want to respect that. We're gonna wrap it up. Okay, we're gonna go around. Ransom, we're gonna start with you first, and then Josiah, and then you, Samara. If there was one thing that you could pray for and it would be answered, what would that be?
If there was one thing that I could pray for and it would be answered, what would that be? It would be for, in my future, for all racism and all um, bad and discrimination, all of the bad things that are happening to people with other races to end. Almost like it would have never existed. If all of us could be treated together, um, like just like treated equally, that would make a whole lot of change, and we would be all great together.
I would say for a lot of people's mindsets to change, like still remembering the past and what has happened, but like coming together to come to a conclusion of like what needs to be understood, um, and just yeah.
Yeah, I agree with what both of them said. And for me, the one thing I would wish for, I would say, is like peace throughout different nations and different countries throughout the world. Because right now we're really divided. Even in America, we're divided. And I know in Ukraine, there's other things going on there that can even have an impact on us here. So I would hope, all of the countries all the countries have issues, but all countries, the issues that all of them have, they would be resolved in a peaceful way. So, we can all come together and work together.
Wow. I'm like one of our viewers here. I believe we're in good hands. We truly have a very astute group of folks here that are really shared their passion for what they do, who they are, and what they see the future holds for them. So um, we're in good hands, brother.
Okay. Perry?
Josiah, Samara, Ransom, thank you for this wonderful evening. Being able to hear your young minds and just get a sprinkle of some of the things that are to come, because all of you are destined for greatness. And so thank you for sharing your time with us.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you for having me.
I too want
Thank
to
you.
thank. Okay, I too want to thank each and every one of you. We're gonna do something. We're gonna try something different tonight. Ari, if you would put up the picture of Terrence. Terrence Crawford. Uh, there he is, right there. Terrence had allowed us to use some of his music, and we're going to close out with some of his music tonight. But I want to thank Terrence. Terrence was in Fort Lauderdale briefly. He's a retired fireman. He's one heck of a musician, and he's in New Jersey. So he made some music for us, and there's Ransom books. Okay. And you can order those books. You can scan them and order them. So let's do that. Let's support our young folk. They really, really make us proud. So we thank you. Now, if you would, Broderick, and I want to compliment our technical and producers, our Broderick and Ariel Henry, for all of their services and what they're doing. They're educators. So let me hear that music, man. Let me see if I can do this. This is our first time trying this. I want to make sure it's done right. Can you guys hear the music? Okay, here we go. The contemporary English version of Matthew chapter 21, verse 16 says, "The men said to Jesus, 'Don't you hear what those children are saying?' 'Yes, I do,' Jesus answered. 'Don't you know that scripture says children and infants will sing praises?' Now, in the words to the song, 'Greatest Love of All,' I do believe children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. Give them a sense of pride to make it easier. Let the children's laughter remind us how we used to be. Everybody's searching for a hero. People need someone to look up to. I never found anyone who could fulfill my needs. A lonely place to be. And so I learned to depend on me. I decided long ago never to walk in anyone's shadow. If I fail, if I succeed, at least I'll live as I believe. No matter what they take from me, they can't take away my dignity. because the greatest love of all is happening to me. I found the greatest love of all is inside of me. The greatest love of all is easy to achieve. Learning to love yourself is the greatest love of all. I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. Give them a sense of pride to make it easier. Let the children's laughter remind us how we used to be. And if by chance that special play that you've been dreaming of leads you to a lonely place, find your strength in love. Now, to all of us older soldiers in the struggle, sometimes we have to allow youthfulness to lead while we be still, understanding that being still is a motion that creates the greatest movements of all. So, let us march on together. Good night, all. God bless you. We love you, and there ain't nothing you can do about it.
Good night.